This is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, November 4th. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Powell, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
Welcome to the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast all about everything that matters.
Yay.
Insert the drum roll thing here.
It all matters.
It's all matters now. Everything's going to matter. We get into that. But happy Halloween, guys. We missed that last week, I think. But did you guys dress up for Halloween?
Not this year. You know, not much of a costume wearer. I dressed as a Hawaiian person. I'm not really sure what that means exactly. But when I did we did like a candy by the carload event for the city of Powell, I think like a week ago now. And I did not read that costumes were mandatory, so had to scramble last minute to get one.
Yeah, I didn't dress up this year. My dog got all the costume this year, so he was a little body.
Well, you always have to dress the dog up.
I know, he gets the better costumes too. Like, it's not fair.
Cool. I was a frog.
A frog?
I had a hat, yeah.
Hopefully there's pictures of this.
Somewhere. I don't know. Maybe it'll be in the show notes. Who knows? But my daughter was a Tiana, and so like my wife and I dressed up like frogs. And it was just a green t-shirt, but it looked good. I liked it. It was really cute. But we went around trick-or-treating. She got a bunch of candy, and now she really likes. Oh, I'm being brought the hat. Hold on, I'll just wear this for the whole show. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
There we are.
Hey,
right.
That looks like that landscape speaker we found on AliExpress or Alibaba.
It does.
Yeah,
oh, that's great.
It looks very similar.
Oh,
there we go. So yeah, picture that green shirt. Yeah, it really worked. All right. It doesn't really work with
Perfect. I don't know why you don't wear that all the time.
I don't know if I could take you seriously with that on now.
Well, let's talk about Matter then.
All right. Let's do it. Big Matter news.
well, yeah, okay. So big Matter news. Matter launched today, 190 devices certified, and 20 new members, or more than 20 members. Let's see, had a big launch event today in Amsterdam, where the CSA hosted all of the Matter people, I guess, to show off their wares. They have lighting, smart plugs, smart thermostats, smart shades, smart sensors, and smart locks. Everything's smart that matters right now. They also announced 4 new device categories that'll be coming in the next few years, including, in addition to cameras, which is on the roadmap, home appliances, robot vacuums, and energy management stuff. So they announced garage door controllers with electronic gates. Seems like that should have probably been on the first part. Kind of a miss, if you ask me. Environmental quality sensors, which would be good to have. And then smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, also kind of a miss, I think, for the version 1. Should have been in there. And then ambient motion presence sensing. So I think that has to do, I don't know what that has to do. Like, wouldn't that be in sensors? It's kind of weird. I'm not sure what the difference between ambient motion and presence sensing is, but what do you guys think? Did you guys see anything in here that was you're going to run out and grab as soon as it became Matter compatible?
Nothing at all. I know some people are very excited for Matter. I'm kind of excited for it too, but I'm more excited for Matter like 1.1 or 1.2 when they start, adding. There's some other devices that they're going to be adding. I'm looking forward to that. They'll be ironing out some of the wrinkles, stuff like that. So I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm still waiting to hear, my hub of choice is Habitat. I'm waiting to hear what they do, if they're listening. I'm waiting, but it's good to see like a lot of motion, 190 devices, they say. Eve is getting it next month, December, I think they said. The others said next year. So it's good to see that 190 devices, 80% of them are flavors of a light bulb. So it's very exciting.
Well, everybody loves lighting. I mean, how could you go wrong without lighting,
Yeah, most of them are made by Tuya. They had like 40 different models of RGB CW light bulbs I get it. They're each one of them has to be certified separately for whatever reason, but
I mean, it's kind of lackluster though, right? For like us talking about this for like years now, and then like the release being pushed out, and like, I don't know, just 190 certified devices doesn't seem like anything with the amount of companies that are on board and with how long we've been talking about it. like all these companies should have had access before it became certified, right? Like, so shouldn't adoption be a little bigger by now?
These companies are also bigger companies, though, that have the resources to really get involved in stuff like that too. So I think over time, the smaller companies, when they start throwing some more resources into it, you'll see them start to come out, and then we'll get flooded with all these random devices.
Yeah, that's a great observation. The big ones we saw were like Tuya, Amazon, Apple, Samsung.
Xiaomi.
And I mean, like you said, those are the big ones. They're the ones that were part of that working group, I'm sure. So they were just kind of all over it and got it done first. But I keep going back to that post that Paulus had on, I think, Hacker News that we covered a couple of weeks back now. It was about Home Assistant and what their plans were. But he kept stressing, or he stressed a couple of times that this is cheap. It's cheap because it's open source. Like you don't have to develop your own stack against all this stuff, and it's there online. You can download it, you can implement it without without trying to do it yourself, and then it just integrates with all of these automation platforms. That's gonna be big for manufacturers, and hopefully we'll see them just jump on it left and right and make nice, inexpensive products to go along with the home thing. I'm kind of disappointed garage doors aren't on, and gate control. That you would think that would be like first on the list, and maybe cameras too. But cameras are hard, so I'll give them a pass on cameras.
Yeah, and I think we'll definitely see a widespread adoption with this, just because the technology behind it is so cheap. I mean, we did that. We talked about that article a couple months ago now, where it was like the Wi-Fi, the BLE, the Matter or Thread, and like Wi-Fi 6 all in one chip for like $6 or something obnoxious. So like we're going to see this on a ton of devices just because it's going to be so much cheaper to implement than Z-Wave or Zigbee or something else. So, by that default, I think it's going to be popular anyway. It'll be nice once they add a bunch of these other devices that they're already planning in 2023.
Yep. Just to help round out the ecosystem and all the stuff that you can do into it. For sure. In the meantime, Home Assistant just keeps, stealing the show, because all these 190 certified things get up there, and all these hundreds of vendors and everything. And Home Assistant is like, yeah, we can integrate with your toothbrush now. Like, what? You guys see this update?
Yeah, it looks pretty nice. And they added an update for a lot of stuff. I mean, honestly, it's the Oral-B, the Snooze, which I've never heard of that one. Air Things, which I've never heard of, but that looks really popular. And they've got a lot of different air quality sensors and a bunch of other stuff. Got a couple different new cards coming out to the Home Assistant UI. So a new one called Tile, and then another statistic card that kind of just gives you a finite value, when it averages like your temperature in your room, maybe a temperature in the garage, something like that. And another thing I really like too is that they implemented the water consumption under the energy tab. So you can actually go there in the same tab as you do with your electricity and see how much water you're using as well. So a couple of nice, quality of life feature updates. I don't think anything too crazy. But it's always nice to see Home Assistant evolving, and they're adding some nice features that other people, kind of recommended. I think a lot of the stuff was voted on, and a lot of the stuff received a lot of, votes, and people were really interested in it. So good to see them listening to the community.
Yeah, every time they come out with an update, I'm more and more impressed with what Home Assistant's doing and where they're going. And, I'm starting to get that FOMO. I feel like I need to get my hands on one of the Home Assistant yellows or whatever their box is and start, looking at it. My only problem is my current ecosystem has like 200 devices in it. And to migrate that is like going to take me weeks. And it's running beautifully right now, but I'm very impressed with Home Assistant, and it looks great.
Well, and the nice thing too, because you're using Habitat, and because Home Assistant integrates with everything, pretty positive you can use Home Assistant with Habitat.
Yes, you can.
So you can go ahead and just start, slowly moving over, and at least getting used to the interface and automations and stuff like that. So maybe it'll make it a little easier for you in the long run.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the Snooze over at getsnooze.com with a Z, because that's cool.
Yeah, what is that?
It's a white noise machine, but it has a fan inside to make the noise. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It's a mechanical white noise machine for $100. And I guess it's got an API, clearly an on-off scheduler, nursery calibration, but it's got a fan in there.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I've never seen that before. I wonder if they like did that in the pre-technology days, because I've only ever known like white noise as like, you know, a speaker.
Yeah.
Well, my wife says our white noise is me snoring, but this is good replacement.
It's not a very good noise. Yeah. It's very interesting. So it doesn't have a speaker inside of it. It's got a fan that whirls around.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. And makes the noise of a fan. Not going to sell too well in Korea, but yeah, is what it is.
I could see me buying that at some point.
They're just old server fans that nobody wanted. They're repurposing them, you know. Right. We're trying to make our computers quieter, and you know, they're trying to make a little background noise.
That's what. Oh my gosh, we should make that.
That's what happened to Seth's server. That makes sense now.
We're gonna we're gonna make one of these white noise machine with server edition.
Just old server fans, you know. Every IT, you know, we sleep well when we hear those fans running in the background. Yeah,
just angry bumblebees. Oh man, that's great.
Holy cow! And you can actually twist the outer shell to adjust how fast it is and everything. That's hilarious.
I think it's really well made.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
They find all these really cool devices I've actually never seen before. I've seen it many of the, you know, I know what an Oral-B toothbrush is. AirThings is, like you said, the air sensor stuff. I've been seeing them kind of work on that through a few posts, but I don't know. Good stuff. One day everybody will catch up with these guys. And of course, they're going to have Matter soon too. They'll have a little plug-in thing dongle that you can get.
Yeah, the Sky Connect.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you know when I get mine.
And it'll connect to nothing but the Sky because there's no Matter products for it to connect to until next year. Evidently, that's what they're saying. So
you have time.
That's right. I don't even have a shipping date. So,
all right, guys, I'm going to take the Matter hat off now. And every time we talk about Matter,
you have to keep that on.
No, I'll put it on every time we talk about Matter. I'll just keep it here on my desk.
Might as well just keep it on because it seems like we'll be talking about it a lot.
At least I took a picture of you wearing it, so keep that later.
All right, great. Oh, that's the worst picture ever.
You wouldn't stop talking. I couldn't get a good one with you with the hat on, you know.
All right. What do you say we take the Matter hat off and jump into some HomeTech headlines?
Let's do it.
All right. As a result of supply chain hurdles and financial constraints, a 4-year-old smart lighting company, Orro, is suspending most of its company's business operations effective immediately. Kind of some big news this week. At least for the next 6 months, the company says it will no longer manufacture or distribute its Orro smart lighting system, and instead use remaining resources to provide ongoing support to existing customers and including end users as well as professional integrators and dealers. The company is committing to a minimum of 6 months of ongoing support. The officials say that period could be extended. Customers may continue adding the new Orro 1 switches and may install and use Orro's existing smart home integrations while the development for new software updates is suspended. I have here marked on graveyard, but I'm not sure. It sounds like I heard some other reporting on this that they had some funding or something drop, which, you know, that happens when these startups from time to time. But because of the news that had gotten out, they had made up some of that funding. So they may be back on the table, but it does kind of suck to see them kind of like drop off. At least they're better at announcing what's going on than Insteon. I mean, they know how to use email over at Orro. It looks like. Gavin, I know you had some problems with how much this thing costs when you were talking about it in the pre-show.
So my opinion's not going to destroy a company, but I just felt that this was too expensive for the average user, right? Like when you're looking at, what was it, $300-$400 for this?
I think their current pricing was $399,
and that's US.
The smart one.
You know, that's US. It hurts up here in Canada, especially since the US is doing so well, right? So I just, you know, I personally wouldn't do this because you'd need a few of them in the house. Like you wouldn't just want one, you'd want like at least 4 or so, and that's a big investment, you know. And for that price, you can pretty much replace every switch in your house with a regular Z-Wave, you know, smart switch. with scene controls and stuff like that. So it was a nice looking device. I just don't know if we were the right market. They went towards the integration market too, right?
Yeah, I think for a while they were targeting DIY installs, and then went. They at that point they were $299 for the Switch, and then they ended up bumping up $100 and saying, "Hey, integrators, you want to make some money? We got about $100 in here for you." So, yeah, I don't know. They also came out with some less expensive, like I think, like other in lighting or something like that later on that didn't have the little touch screen built into it, didn't do all the same amount of things. Like you really only needed one of these devices in the room because it had a ton of stuff in it. It had like intercom built into it, integrations with like Philips Hue and could change your colors, your thermostat, all sorts of really cool stuff. But really, if you did like 10 of these in your room, you had 10 light switches and did 10, I mean, that's incredibly expensive, but also incredibly useless. Like you can't intercom from this switch to this switch, like that's 2 inches away. Like,
yeah.
You want to intercom to a different room, and that's where it makes sense.
And then if you want intercom, like intercom's built into, your Amazon A-Lady, right? Like you have other devices. This is just doing stuff that other devices already do.
This looks better.
It does look nicer, but it's just doing stuff that we already do with other devices, right? Like, so, for that price point, it's a little tough.
I don't know who wants this. Like, the only thing I can think of, we were talking about it before the show, is like I used to go to these houses that had like those like 4-inch touchscreens on the wall, and they're just so small to like use for anything normally. I don't really see the appeal of this. Like, it'd be different if it was like a 7 or 10-inch screen on your wall, but like, I don't know, maybe I just haven't used one enough to like fully justify it or something. But I just don't see the appeal of this small little screen on your light switch.
Yeah, I can see that. And the biggest thing I liked about it is that it can be a keypad with, like, they show one on their website, probably about halfway down, where you have an Orro and it has like 4 buttons on it. I think that could be useful because with all of the other things that we've talked about and that are in our database over there, that you have to get the buttons engraved.
PPDBB.
Yeah, you got to pay for that every time. Like if I wanted to change out what a lighting scene is and the name of it, I just relabel it on my app and it pushes an update to this thing. So I did like that. I did like it as like a quick control surface like that. So but did I want one in my house? No, not that badly. So, not for $300 a device at least. And in my house, we tend to just like, hey, just yell like, where are you? It's like, not very far away is the answer because there's only like 3 rooms. So
yeah, exactly.
And there's definitely a reason they went after like integrators, right? Because like normal consumers have a panic attack if you tell them to spend $50 on a light switch. Most of them are just going to like die if you tell them that they're going to spend $300 on a light switch.
Yeah.
That's just such a huge jump from what is normally acceptable and what you can buy for $300 or $400, whatever it actually costs. That's a ton of light switches in itself. So, I mean, it's a big ask for a lot of people, I think.
It's definitely it looks like what it could be a pro-focused product. Now, I have gotten the pricing wrong because the Orro one is $299. So I guess we got that wrong, but I've been saying it's $100 more than that.
Well, and they have a smaller slim one for like $149 as well. But I think that's the non-touch screen one. It's like just the buttons or whatever. Yeah,
it's just got dimming. It's got their sensors and they say intelligence, but that just means it integrates back to whatever, it detects if you're in the room and turns on the lights and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. It doesn't have all the other neat stuff like media control and Sonos control and all if you needed that and wanted to put that in your system. But again, like you said, it's a small touchscreen. You're going to have to walk up to it, swipe back and forth until you find whatever you want to do and then like press the button. So
and most switches are like an awkward height. So like, wouldn't you have to like stare down at it all the time? Like,
yeah. Yep. There's a couple of builders that we worked with that put the switches almost at waist height because it was kind of like it's Florida. So they were pre-planning for like wheelchair access to the homes later on. So yeah, all of the switches in the entire house and the outlets were actually brought up. Usually I think they're like 12 inches off the floor or whatever. These were up maybe 10 more inches above that. Like it was substantially, it was noticeable. Like you didn't have to bend down all the way to plug an outlet in. So yeah, this would be very difficult to use in one of those homes.
And like I'm looking at my light switch across the room in my office here, and it's roughly the same height as I am sitting down right now. So like right now it's the perfect height, but I don't know. Just if I was standing up, that's not very good height to look at it. So if I was in a wheelchair though, that would be perfect.
Yep. I'm looking at mine too. Yeah, I don't know. It would be okay. I like the idea of a dynamic keypad, but at the same time, I'd want like 4 individual OLED keys there so I could actually feel them. You know, like you'd be able to feel
like an e-ink display or something, where it's like,
yeah.
You know, maybe just have like 1 to 4 bumps on it, kind of tell you which button it is. But then like it was like an e-ink display, so it would just show you different labels or whatever.
That would be cool. See, we're developing some new stuff here. We're gonna have.
You're welcome, Orro. You don't have any money to pay your stuff, but you can come up with this new switch.
Yeah, we'll buy it. Wink, wink. I mean, it'll be this and the server fan white noise machine. We'll have those ready next week.
Those are on the Christmas list.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I do wish them luck. It seems like a pretty cool product, and definitely could gain some traction in the pro market if they had started earlier. You know, focusing on that side of things, but they were kind of late to the game. Like they were already fairly well established in the DIY space. And then, you know, everyone I talked to was like, oh, that's a DIY product, you know, because it integrates with the, you know, Alexa and everything. And it, at the time, integrators were kind of avoiding that kind of stuff. So I don't know. It will be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully they stay out of the graveyard though, because I do think it's at least a unique and interesting product that does look like it works well. I don't know how well it works, but it does look like it works well.
Wink will buy them.
Yeah, I kind of think if anybody was to purchase them, it would be like an integration friendly,
like Snap
company.
AV or.
I mean, yeah, if we're spending anybody's money, it's going to be Snap AVs. But like, I don't know, Nice could buy them, right? Like,
That's true.
It would fit there.
That's true. They could tie it in with either their DIY lineups or their professional lineups. So
yeah, seems like a good fit there too.
And they really don't have any of their own switches right now, so that would be perfect.
All right, well, one product may be going away, and then we got a new product here from Blusound. It is a speaker. It looks like Blusound is known for kind of trying to go head to head with Sonos for whatever reason. The notes went away, but I'll find it. They've come out with a latest speaker. It's called the Pulse M. It's a $450 speaker. It kind of looks like the Sonos S1, about the same size. Standalone, and it can be integrated in with a second Pulse M for stereo, or you can match it to a sub to get better bass, or kind of just like the Sonos one, like you can integrate it with one of their soundbars for a 5.1 system. Looks pretty interesting. It evidently people say it sounds a little bit better, has maybe a bigger woofer in it or something. So I don't know. I know that this is kind of like an alternative to Sonos, but at the price, it's kind of almost the same.
Their products are a little more expensive than Sonos. Like this one that they're talking about is like $500. When a Sonos one's like $200. But I mean, I don't know how it would compare to like the Sonos 5, which is $500. So, but in typical, I mean, they've got very comparable products to Sonos. They're always a little bit more though. Like I think they have a very nice sound bar, but it's like $1,000. They have a audio streamer, but it's like $500 or $600. So very comparable. Supposedly a little nicer quality, a little higher quality as well, like for the audio itself. I've only used them once or twice before, so I can't really speak of that, but I know a lot of people like them. And it's probably one of the most recommended against Sonos. Like if somebody doesn't want Sonos for whatever reason, a lot of people usually recommend Blusound.
Gavin, you going to dump your Sonos for this?
No. I just got my Sonos. So like I'm relatively new to the Sonos world, so I'm not going to dump it. But Sonos has a lot going for it with their soundbars, their 1s, their 3s, their 5s, the headphones that are rumored. And if they're not rumored, we're starting that rumor, I don't know. The price point, it puts it in like a premium. What else do they offer, the Blusound, in terms of?
Yeah, amplifiers, streamers. basically the same concept.
Yeah, Sonos kind of has like a hold on the market I see right now. So Blusound has a long way to go. But the good thing is people are talking about Blusound. People like it. I've heard nothing but good things about some of the stuff they have. So with that being said, I mean, they could make some they could make some moves.
It's got AirPlay 2. It's got 20 plus streaming services, high res audio, 24-bit 192. So
does it have a voice assistant?
Yeah, it says it has voice control. It's hand-free commands. It's probably kind of the same.
Probably just integrates with some or like Google or something at that point.
These seem to be standard things that you have to have now if you're going to come into this ecosystem.
Yeah, it's a Amazon Alexa voice integration with Blue OS, so it's got that going for it. But I don't know. It seems
honestly at this point, I would be willing to consider something besides Sonos if it came with AirPlay 2 and Chromecast audio. Like my biggest annoyance, and I know this is probably like a Google thing because Google just doesn't do anything with all their stuff, but I don't like that, Android speakers can't wirelessly, or Android phones can't wirelessly cast to any of my speakers. But if I have an Apple, phone or tablet or something, it can. So I just wish that was a possibility at this point.
Maybe if they settle that lawsuit, you'll be able to do that one day.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I clicked on the wrong website for Orro, and there's a Get Orro, but there's also a Drink Orro, and I guess it's a pineapple juice company. So
that's their problem. Just poor brand recognition. Everybody thinks they sell pineapple drinks.
So now I'm looking at like this pineapple upside down cake drink is what
You're
it is.
You're gonna put a pineapple drink in my wall? I don't really understand.
I'm gonna buy one of these. They're not $400, $37.99, not $2.99. So
for a case.
I might get one of these. 12 of them.
Dang. Blusound sells a Vault 2i. It's a high resolution or high res 2 terabyte network hard drive CD ripper and streamer. So take your CDs and store it on there. $1,400.
Wow. I guess if you have CDs, that could be popular.
Well, heck yeah, it'll make it nice and easy for you because ripping CDs sucks and it's so time consuming.
Yeah, I mean, I would send them off to a service if anybody ever asked me to do that. Like, just find somebody online that does it.
I would just buy Spotify.
Yeah, well, sometimes people want to have their exact library, like they have
special
stuff
disc or whatever.
Yeah, so I could see that, but I would definitely ship that off to a service. Wouldn't not be something I did.
They've got an audiophile grade sound bar for $9.99. Their stuff always looks nice. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll play with it more one day.
Let us know.
Maybe it won't have as many network issues as Sonos. That's my biggest gripe with Sonos, right? Is that like for some reason I feel like you have to baby it when it comes to the networking. Like everything else in the world kind of just works, like minus like a distributed video. But like Sonos, you have to like hardwire a speaker, you have to do this, you have to do that. It just doesn't just work.
See, I've knock on wood, never had that problem. Like,
yeah.
Once or twice I had an issue with that. It was really early on, and it turned out to be like you shouldn't plug in multiple Sonos devices. You just plug in one and let it do its thing.
Right.
And then the installers were like, well, I just wired all of the Sonos devices up into this switch, and it just got, a spanning tree loop or whatever going on.
Yeah, and the only issue I ever had was interference with my Wi-Fi network in the Sonos net.
Mm-hmm.
So once I changed the channel on Sonos net, everything's been beautiful since.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Michael Moore says Sonos will kill a managed network. No, I wouldn't say it will kill a managed network. It won't work very well on a managed network if you don't have it set up right.
Sonos will come for your family if you're not watching out.
All right, let's move on here. Not to be outdone by YouTube, Apple is also increasing the prices of its Apple Music and Apple TV Plus subscription services. The Apple One bundle is also rising in unison. The Apple Music monthly price is upped by about $1 in individuals for individuals and $2 for families. The Apple TV Plus is rising $2, which only has one tier and supports family sharing on all plans. So, here is the breakdown. Apple Music basically going from $9.99 to $10.99 for the individual, $14.99 to $16.99 for the family. And Apple TV Plus going from $5, which is one of the lower priced. I don't think we ever really talk about Apple TV Plus. Like it's has been one of the lowest priced, and now everybody's gone way above what they were. but $4.99 to $6.99, so up $2, and for the monthly price. And if you do the Apple One individual, $15 to $16.95, family $19.95 to $22.95, and if you're on the big premier Apple One family bundle thing, which is $30, it's going to go to $32.95. So I don't know. I personally see that when Apple TV Plus first came out, it was kind of like you got a year almost for free. Then when they were like, oh yeah, $5 a month, or what is it, $5 a month, there wasn't many shows on there, but what was there was pretty good. So I was like, yeah, $5 makes sense. Now it seems like, I mean, there's a lot of content on there. There's movies that are coming out this Friday that I want to see. So I don't know. It seems like Acapulco's on, man. We're going to talk about that later, but new season of Acapulco's on. So yeah, I definitely see value in this. Gavin, what about you? I knew you're a big fan of the telenovelas.
No, it's not just Apple, but what's really starting to bother a number of people is that every streaming service is increasing their prices. So you're now starting to have to make decisions as to what you want to keep, and I have a feeling it's going to reach a point where the only one I'm going to have is Amazon Prime, just because it's included in my whole Amazon Prime membership. At that point, I think I'm getting to that point just because I don't really think about it, and they raise my Prime membership anyway, so I might as well just keep that one. But they're slowly $1 here, $1 here, $1 here, and it seems like they're all doing it at the same time. It seems like this year we got hit by a lot of them, so people are going to start making decisions. But I agree, there's a lot more content on Apple Plus. A lot of shows that are really good there. They're getting some awards, I think, and I love Acapulco. I'm all caught up on that.
Hey, TJ, I know you don't like watching TV in general, but you've been paying more for YouTube. What do you think about these price increases across the board? I mean, everything's more expensive, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody's doing it, so why not just jump along with them?
Yeah.
And, when somebody gets mad, you're just like, well, I mean, it's the cost of everything now, so you can't really be mad at me. Everybody else is doing it. So, I mean, as a business, that totally makes sense. You're kind of sharing the blame for it. I think I don't understand how any streaming service, like video streaming service at least, survives for under $10 a month. The last one I have now is Crunchyroll, which is like anime stuff, and I think we pay like $8 a month for that, and I'm expecting that to jump up to like $12 or $13 here soon, just because I don't see how anything survives under $10 a month anyway. So when I see this, going from $5 to $7 a month, it was just a matter of time.
It's Apple though. I mean, they're going to survive in that price point for a while. Apple Music is one I don't value at $11 a month, but the app is just horrible. I don't know how anybody uses it.
Yeah, I don't even know what I pay for my Spotify, but we have the Spotify family account, and I think it's like $15 a month for like 5 accounts. Mm-hmm. So not a bad deal at all there.
No, it's not. And the app is so much better and easier to find music and subscribe to things, and it just makes sense. And then you go to the Apple one, and it's like, I don't know what they were trying to do here. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I think I used the Apple Music because I got it like a couple months for free when I bought my phone a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And, it worked all right. But at that point, I was already in with Spotify, and I really don't see any reason to jump from it. So
I kind of jump back and forth between them, but I don't know. Mostly just, I don't know why. Mostly sometimes I'm in the car and I just want to hear music, and I just hit the pink music thing rather than the green one. And
music happens.
Music happens. Exactly. Anyway, moving on here. We got some lock talk. So TJ, be ready.
I'm already angry.
Drama in the lock industry, the smart lock industry. Level announced that, going back and forth about joining up with the new Apple Home Key API, which is it basically lets your phone unlock your door. It's kind of cool. But Level finally officially released its new Level Lock Plus last month, and it didn't take Lockpicking Lawyer very long to pick the Level Lock Plus in about, I don't know, a few seconds. It was very, very quick. There's a video posted on YouTube where the Lockpicking Lawyer is able to use a bump key to unlock and disable the lock fairly quickly. He describes that this kind of attack is a low skill attack, quote, low skill attack, and it's a $329 lock and it should not be vulnerable at that price point. So in between this video coming out, Level has actually responded and said, probably the worst possible way, and said, these kind of break-ins only account for 4% of all break-ins.
They gave the TJ response.
Oh my gosh, that the dumbest PR move right there. I mean, but whatever. So anyway, TJ, we've been kind of talking about this before the show. Using a bump key to break into a house, is that low skill or not? What are we looking at here?
Using a bump key doesn't really take much skill. I mean, lock picking in general doesn't really take a lot of skill. It just takes know-how and it takes patience, right? And just because you're really good at picking locks doesn't mean that you can pick every single lock that's out there.
Unless you're the lock picking lawyer, because literally that's what he does. Like, he just picks every lock and quickly. Like, he does them so fast.
And I'd love to know how long it actually takes him to pick these locks before he starts recording, but I'm sure we'll never know that. But I mean, in reality, you know, kind of just like what Level said, and obviously they shouldn't have said it because it's just a terrible response, is like nobody's going around picking your locks, right? Like, if anybody's going to break into your house, they're just going to try to smash your door in. They're going to smash your window. They're going to try to steal a key, all kinds of other things. They're not going to sit at your lock and try to pick your lock.
One better here. They just walk up to the door and they open it because you left it unlocked.
And so, like, these things always make me laugh because, like, your average criminal is not carrying around lock picking tools. They're just not, because there's other ways into your house that they're going to get in quicker and they're going to leave a lot quicker. I can see the argument that you're paying $300 for the lock. It should be a little better secure. But if you're that worried about it, just get one without a keyhole in it. And that way you can avoid the problem altogether. And I think it's a little bit of a juggling act too, as you're one of these companies, right? You know, there's plenty of high security locks that exist on the marketplace, but you have to go to a specific vendor or manufacturer to get those key blanks again. So instead of just being able to go to the hardware store and get a key made for $4, you have to go to a locksmith, or you have to go back to the original company and get a key made for $20 to $50 sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are not going to be happy about that.
Right. Can you imagine paying $329 for the Apple lock that you bought at the Apple store and then having to pay $50 for a key anytime you need it? No.
And that exists. I mean, there's brands out there like Multi-Lock and a couple other ones where it's like, you know, they have really nice keys. There's like a little pin in there that kind of moves around, and that's how it, you know, passes the test or whatever to know it's a real key. And it's, you know, $50 to get a new key made. And you can only go to certain locksmiths to get it made because they're the only ones that carry that key. So I don't see this as a big problem in the long run. I can see why people would be upset, but I don't know. There's just different things to worry about, in my opinion.
Gavin, have you watched the video? This looks pretty easy to you. Is this something you could do?
Oh yeah. After watching this video, I felt like a pro. I was like, you know, I was ready to go picking locks, but then you always like rain on my parade. You're like, just kick in the window next to it. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. You know, it's much easier if I just take a stone and throw it through that window. So I'm not going to, but it would be nice to know how to do this for those times you lock yourself out of your house, right? Like there will be one day when I got to get into my own house, and it would be nice to have a little bump key around, you know?
Where's this bump key going to be at though, Gavin? It's going to be in your house that's locked.
That's true too. I'll store a bump key at my neighbor's house
in case I need to break in later. And like, look, you can buy a
just store a regular key at your neighbor's house.
Yeah, so you guys are just raining on my parade here. You know,
you can buy a lockpicking set for like $30. I mean, that's all you need. So
it's $5 for a key at Home Depot, though.
You know, I'll just kick in my own window to get back in my house.
I'm gonna say, like, when I was doing the security sales and that kind of thing, and people had their homes robbed, I mean, it happened quite a bit, but it was because they lived in a country club, in a gated community or whatever, and they just left their doors unlocked, and somebody would sneak in, kind of look around. Or they didn't check to, you know, their security alarm that some of the contacts were frozen, you know, and they didn't notice when they opened the door that it didn't beep or whatever. And people just kind of like either opened up the slider and just kind of walked into the master suite and stole everything. So it's like, yeah, it's always one of those like simple things that you don't think of, that criminals will just try first. They don't want to make a lot of noise. They don't want to kick in a door. They don't want to break a window. They just want to get in and get out quietly and not cause any attention. walking around with a hammer and a bump key is probably not a great idea.
Yeah, and this uses like a standard Schlage C keyway cylinder. So I mean, this is like everywhere. Like,
yeah, it's probably the same door lock that most of us have.
Right. At your house, you either have a Kwikset or you have a Schlage, more than likely, or the parts come from those companies. So you probably have this in your house already. You just didn't pay $300 because it's smart.
Exactly. Locks are just there to keep honest people honest. That's all.
That's true.
Yep.
Security is done in layers. If you're just relying on your door lock, you are doing it wrong. And at least with this, if it was picked open, you would get notified, right, that it was unlocked. Seems like a win to me.
Second layer needs to be the vicious attack dog at Gavin's house.
All 14 pounds of him.
That's adorable. You just have to put the right costume on.
You'd say he was a banana. He's going to slip on.
All right. Well, all the links and topics discussed tonight can be found over at our show notes at HomeTech.fm/410. All right, got nothing in the mailbag this week, but we do have a pick of the week. I think Gavin came out with this one and had a pretty good, I don't know what headline for this, but I went and looked at the Reddit post, and it says the ring window bell spotted in the wild, and this is kind of wild. There is a 2-story house, definitely European construction, and of course the cars in front of the house have plates on them that are from like the UK or something. But there's a doorbell like mounted up by the 2nd-story window, and I mean, multiple uses for that, I suppose. If you have a teenage daughter and you notice the one day that she has a doorbell installed outside her window, that's not a good thing. But it reminded me of those movies back in the 80s where like they would throw rocks up against the window. Like that's one way you could just have a doorbell and just press the button and you can just talk.
Yeah, a lot less shattered windows by people throwing rocks that were just a little too big. A little too hard, I wonder how many times that happened. But yeah, if your kid has a Ring doorbell cam outside their window, there's some questions that you need to start asking.
Maybe what the login for that Ring thing is.
If I were a parent and I saw this, I'd set up a Ring outdoor camera pointing down at the Ring doorbell camera so I could see who's coming in with my own login.
Well, this is funny. And when I think TJ, you kind of posted in the hub when we were talking about this, like, what in the Seth's neighborhood? Like, somebody down the street from me has a Ring doorbell mounted right over the top of their garage. I don't know. I guess people use them for cameras.
Must have got the same idea, One of the comments is funny too, because it says, knowing the resolution and lens quality of those cameras, there's no way it is doing to capture a face or license plate. If they're lucky, the image might be good enough to tell the make or model of a car. They just want the noise when a vehicle enters their parking area. And that's probably a good point. Those cameras do not go very far, so maybe they're using it as like a bird camera,
Could be a bird camera, yeah.
I don't really see anything a bird would hang out for there, but I don't know. Not a bird.
Uber delivery instructions are drop package off at 2nd floor. Then they see the camera, they're like, uh-oh.
It could be like a Ron White thing. Yeah, your kid's a drug dealer if they got a Ring doorbell installed outside their window.
I mean, some people are posting in here that, oh yeah, you could, if you get your kid in there and it could be a motion detector up by the window. I'm like, oh, that makes sense because it's going to catch who's climbing up there, right?
Right.
So you're gonna see them, and it's not big, it's not like a giant camera or anything, and it's wireless. Like you can just reach out the window and recharge it, right? Just don't drop the security screw if you're unscrewing it from the wall, but because that's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming they just had an extra camera and they're just like, we just want
to slap it up there.
Yeah.
Still haven't gone and had the nerve to ring the one on my neighbor's garage yet. So. It's like above the garage door.
You have to walk with a ladder.
What the heck?
That's funny. If you have any picks of the weeks, great ideas for the show, head on over to HomeTech.fm/feedback. You can fill out the online form there, or you can reach out to us on our email address at feedback@HomeTech.fm. All right, guys. So we got some project updates here. TJ, you've been busy installing things, and the Unified Doorbell Pro is up on the top of your list. What say you about the Unified Doorbell Pro?
First of all, this thing is ginormous. Like,
it's got 2 cameras in it.
You can look. I know, and it's got a display and this like built-in light thing, and like you can always look at the dimensions of a product online before you buy it. but sometimes you just don't realize how big it is until you get it. And when you hold this thing in your hand, like it feels giant. So you can't just put it on any house. Like I'm assuming half the houses I would show this to, they would just be like, I don't want something that large on my house, right? But I did the PoE version. So I got the little USB-C to PoE adapter. So it's all hardwired to the internet. Getting the wire wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So I basically had to cut a hole, behind the doorbell. But luckily the basement was unfinished. So, and whoever what the original installer was a genius, because they drilled a big enough hole in there, that I didn't have to drill another one. So running the wire was relatively easy. And what I did is I just basically ran an additional Cat 6 and taped it to the wire, because at some point the USB-C adapter is probably going to die. And I might not be able to get one ever again or whatever. So that way, if it dies, I can just pull the wire out a little bit more, strip back the Cat 6, and then just use it as power at that point. The annoying thing that I found out is that the hole, so the USB-C plug basically sticks straight out of the video doorbell. So your hole for the wire has to be exactly where that plug is. Because it sticks out. I mean, it's a good inch, maybe inch and a half by the time you actually take in the bend of the cable and everything. So, I installed it on the door, went to go put it on, and I was like, why won't this thing fit? And it's because the holes weren't lined up perfectly. So I had to move it down a little bit. And then luckily, the hole was straight back. So it had no problem with that. Good quality cameras though. It's really easy to switch back and forth between the package camera and the regular camera.
Yeah, that looked really cool in your photos you posted in the hub. I hadn't seen this before, but having a look down camera to see what is sitting down in front of your door, that's a really good idea. I like that.
Honestly, it's a really good feature, and I could see this being a standard on pretty much every video doorbell here in the next year. Just because, primary purpose for a lot of people is just to see what packages they have or to make sure nobody's taking their packages.
What if Ring integrates the Amazon barcode scanner into it, and then all the people that deliver it just have to come up and put it in front of your Ring doorbell, and it goes beep, and then they can just drop it because
it could unlock your door automatically too.
Yeah, and they can go put it in your refrigerator.
Let them right in. Bam. Yeah. But honestly, really nice. I think the doorbell itself is $300, and then the little adapter is $40. So I mean, compared to a lot of other video doorbells, it's probably the most expensive one that you'll buy. Really good quality though, so I'm pretty happy with it. One weird issue though, this client had requested that they're able to turn their Wi-Fi access points off at night. They don't want their kids on it or something. I don't know. I don't ask questions. And so I have one switch that powers the access points, and I have one switch that powers the cameras. Whenever they turn the access point switch off, it makes the connection for the other two hardwired cameras lose connection for 15-20 seconds, and then they come back on. And both switches are directly wired to the UDM Pro on site. So I'm not really sure what's going on in the background that's making these hardwired cameras lose connection, but some kind of weird thing going on right now with that. But other than that, pretty happy. I think I could sell these all the time if they were just in stock. And you can still use it as a regular doorbell. So if you just want to replace what you have right now, you don't have to use the PoE adapter. And honestly, I don't see how you're going to use the PoE adapter in a lot of situations, unless you are willing to cut your wall open and fix it.
They also have wireless chimes now, right? I think I've seen those before.
They do, and that's what I had to pair it with. I think that's $50. The wireless chime is kind of silly though. It only has one chime, one tone. It's $50. You can adjust the volume, and that's pretty much it. So I'm hoping that kind of changes in the future. And if they would release a PoE version of that as well, that would be nice. Because you have this nice PoE doorbell, but then you have to use a wireless chime.
Yeah, the Ring released up the game this year with their Halloween sounds they had. I mean, it was full on messages, from a joke from Dracula or something like that. There were a bunch of them. I thought usually in the past it's been you can play on the chime inside, but this was actually playing out of the doorbell when people came up and rang the doorbell.
See, that's a good idea.
Gavin, what do you think about this thing? Would you put this on your door?
Yeah, it looks nice. It's got some good quality, but I did recently look at reviews of doorbell cams on I forget the YouTube channel, but he went through a whole bunch of them, and this wasn't rated that high in the list. So it was interesting to see. But he does very in-depth reviews of cameras. And he breaks it down by distance and so many things. And this really wasn't high in the list, but it does look nice. And, the installation did sound pretty easy.
It's big.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
Wow.
And it has the dual camera, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a cool little feature. You can look down at your package.
Yeah, and you can easily switch back and forth between them, which I liked. It's like a little toggle icon. But yeah, I mean, it's not too bad.
Yeah, the only reason I might not buy this is because integration into another system, if you wanted to, is not that easy, right?
Just got to have Home Assistant.
There's a Control 4 driver out there too. I use that, and it actually goes back around and rings through all of my Sonos. There's a Sonos thing.
Nice.
Yeah. So I can play any song or sound that I want to whenever somebody rings the doorbell, but using that Sonos announcement API thing. But no, I don't like the size of it. I wish they could fit two of the cameras into the little one though, because I do like the size of the little one.
And I wish they would like remove the light. Like I don't really understand. There's like a little light that comes on at night when you walk up to it, and it like shines down. And I'm not really sure what the purpose of that is. Somebody said it's like so you can get your keys or something, but usually your doorbell's not remotely close to your actual lock. So I'm not really sure what the point of it is. And as far as I know, you can't disable it. So that's an annoying feature of it as well.
Mine has that too. Honestly, it's not a great light, so I really don't notice it that often. But I do like that it well, there's the G4 is the one I have. It's not the Pro. And I do like that it comes in more than one color. No, it only comes in white.
No,
but this one only comes in black.
Yeah.
They need more color options because white and black, that's not like you need more. So
well, in this poor door, it's got like a black doorbell, black handle, silver smart lock, red door.
As I say, you were good to go with it, whichever one they wanted, because the hardware doesn't matter. They don't care. So
yeah, overall not bad, and I would use it again. So give it a shot.
Well, thanks for the install. I've been curious about those. I have never seen the interface, and when you posted those pictures, I thought it was really cool to see the look down camera. I really now I'm jealous. I've got the FOMO kicking in, Gavin. I want that.
It's a serious illness.
Just set up your alerts.
All right, well, Gavin, any projects on your end? TV shows? Did you watch your Taskmasters?
I didn't get caught up on Taskmasters. I failed that. I didn't get that homework. Sorry, but there is a new show I'm binging this week called Blockbuster, and yes, it's based in a Blockbuster store. It's like it. If you're a fan of like Community and Superstore, it's a similar type of comedy. They're like the last Blockbuster, and they'll go from there. I won't ruin it for anybody, but that's on my list to binge this week. So if you, like I said, if you're a fan of Superstore, give this a shot.
I've got a Blockbuster t-shirt on tonight.
Oh, there you go.
Perfect timing.
Fitting. I've been seeing this pop up on the advertisements. I'll have to give it a shot.
Well, I did watch. I did take a look at Taskmaster. I watched the first one, season 1, episode 1, and I get it. It's interesting. The tasks that they were doing were the let's see, they ate a watermelon, they drew a picture of a horse, and they emptied a bathtub. I probably shouldn't be the marketing person in this. Like it was funny.
Yeah, you're not selling.
It sounds awful when you explain it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the comedians and everything were funny. So I'll give them that. Yeah. So.
What an update! I'm glad we did that.
It's not a show that I would turn on, TJ. Like I would probably put it on like maybe in the background, but not pay much attention to it.
Well, that's how I feel after binging like 6 seasons. So it's like it's background noise.
Yeah. Now Acapulco, on the other hand, like
yep,
I don't even know what that is. So
spicy. Yeah.
There's a new like love triangle. Maximo maybe dating Julia's sister. but he doesn't know.
Met the family.
Oh, the family's all there. Yeah. No. And Memo. Oh, what is he doing in the pool now? He's in the pool. He's not in the laundry room anymore. He's moving up. Memo's my favorite.
Yeah, he's hilarious. I love how they made him sit by the pool the whole day. Yeah, that was awesome.
You're missing out, TJ. You're missing out.
Sounds like it. I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Well, I mean, there's so many storylines in this thing. I don't know how they're going to put it all together, but it's basically a telenovela slash, Days of Our Lives version.
I think I'll stick to Taskmaster. Never mind.
Yeah, it's you definitely can't like not watch it. It's in the background. I can put it on, but the problem with what they do is they speak both in English and in Spanish, depending on where the actors are and what they're doing, and you could be following along and paying attention, and then kind of like goes in the background, like, oh wait, they're speaking Spanish. Like I barely know what they're saying, or I don't know what they're saying, and you have to look up and read the subtitles. So it does have a little more engagement factor in it than Taskmaster, where they were playing hide and go seek, which is the tiebreaker of. I mean, I guess it's a show. Like it's fun. Like they seemed genuinely funny though. I did like that they had to put up like personal effects or something at the very beginning. That was funny.
Oh yeah. It's always interesting what they bring.
Yeah. And the jokes they have very, it's almost like one of those writer room shows where you're in like, they have very smart comedians there that are very punchy and very good with their jokes. And they're just basically just spitting them out. And however they edit the show, like it's perfect. It's like they do a good job of that. So I will give them high scores on all of that. Comedy, editing, perfect. Tasks? I don't know. It's in the name, man. It's Taskmaster. Like it should be Grand Tasks, and they're like drawing a picture of a horse.
You have too high hopes for British TV.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Again, it's definitely one of those you can throw on the background. Like
yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
I'm not saying it's the best show in the world. All right.
I don't know. You had me.
That was pretty good. But you just crushed all that. I mean, I don't even know if it's good anymore. So
yeah.
Wow.
He loved this show so much, and you just
I know. I've been making him cry.
Yeah, I just have terrible taste. Well,
one conversation with Seth, and TJ's ready to give up his favorite show.
I'm going back to my Game Warden shows.
I was about to say it's probably better than the Game Warden show.
You haven't even given the Game Warden shows a shot, so
no, not gonna.
I'm surprised they haven't done it in Florida yet.
All right, well, that's it for this week, guys. We do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support, where you can learn how to support for HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out on the show, but every pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather every day. And man, it's been active in there over the last couple of days. TJ, of course, giving us updates on his doorbell install was actually pretty cool to see because I hadn't seen one of those. So, and thanks for that picture of me in the hat.
You're welcome. Gotta have something. We got somebody famous in our Slack, James from Home Play, who's just been nominated to the CDA board as part of the Slack channel. So come in there, rub some elbows,
Yeah, we should probably try and get him on. He's probably an easy guest to get on. I mean, we'd have to work around schedules and everything. He's in the UK, but
are you saying he has nothing better to do, that he's an easy guest to get on?
He's not very busy if he has time to be a board member. I mean,
true.
Owen will probably stop coming to the chat if we invite James. So.
I know we gotta get
Owen on first.
We'll just put him in on the same show and just kind of slide one in. If you want to help out the show but can't support financially, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or a positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That is it for this week. Everybody, have a great weekend.
Take care.
I went to the gym for the first time for like ever on Tuesday, and my arms are killing me.
Putting some cameras in the bathroom?
Yeah, trying to get them up there in the ceiling. It was really tough.
Yeah.
Really shoulder workout there.
No, there's like a new gym in town, and they do like private, like one-on-one or like 4 people classes, and it sounds pretty nice, honestly. I've joined a couple gyms, but like I'm pretty like I think like a lot of other tech nerds, I really don't know the proper ways to work out and stuff. So it's nice doing it in a small group where you're not like judged or like holding up a group.
They judge you.
Damn, this 30-year-old can't hold his arms up above his head for more than 5 seconds.
Yeah, but he'll never be able to install a camera.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's starting to get bad. I like struggle when I'm like installing speakers. I'm like, oh man, I've been up here for like 5 seconds. I'm already dying.
That's a new business idea. A personal trainer that geared towards integrators. So we give you exercises.
You run up and down ladders.
Exercises.
That could be a Cedia course.
That'd be a new Cedia course. Yeah.
That's
That could
funny.
be a Cedia course. Let's recommend it to James.
If you're like,
James, if you're listening.
work on those back muscles because you're bent over. You're terminating those ends. You're terminating that end. Yeah.
You can't pick a TV up like that.
Today we're doing TV deadlifts.
It's like those what do they call them? What are the crazy ones where you do all the crazy workouts?
Oh yeah, CrossFit.
CrossFit, yeah.
They have
CrossFit.
the wads.
Yeah, like they make you like run out and grab a box of wire and then run back in, run out and grab another box of wire. Like go get it out of a van, run
Quick,
it back
up the ladder, down the ladder, up the ladder.
Yeah.
When we all meet at the Cedia Expo next year, we should do that as a class.
Integrators workout.
Home tech workout.
Well, one year they had that one demo where you had to like change a tire or something. So like, I don't see why you can't do one with like carrying a speaker up a ladder or something. That's more relevant.
There used to be somebody there that had like a challenge, like terminate a Cat 5 challenge or drill a bunch of holes and run the wire challenge.
Oh yeah.
Let's let the owners of the companies come fly to Denver and run wire. That'll be entertaining.
I've never done this before in my life.
I did this, but it was 15 years ago when I first started.
I was 50 pounds lighter.
Those extra
Exactly.
2 wires in every one of them. The integrators workout.